So at first I wasn't sure if I was going to make a video out of this or not, so I started into the job and changed my mind as it's going to require some machining. So this is my Gravely commercial 160 lawnmower that I mow the lawns around here with. It was first owned by a guy who used it on a commercial landscaping, and I bought it off of him. So it's got some hours and some wear on it. So the problem was I was having is the mower deck here wasn't parallel to the ground. It was lower on the left hand side than the right hand side. So I adjusted that out, used all the adjustment, but I got it out, but now it's continuing to get worse. So you can see here how this adjustment is all the way long to try to drop this side of the mower deck down. The other side of the mower deck, this same adjuster is all the way short or up to try to compensate. And also another byproduct of that is the mowing height is off, so it's off probably a good half inch from what the markings are. So I started taking it apart. This is the foot lever that sets the height on the deck, raises and lowers it. So that pivots this side up. It goes through this shaft, goes to this hole, and lifts and lowers, raises and lowers the other side of the mower deck. So one of the first things I noticed is the keyway in this cross shaft. See how it's wore out in here. It's wore sideways. Both ends are like that, so that adds some slop to the other side. And this plastic bushing that's on here is pretty wore out too. So what I can do here, this would be a good job for the Kearney Trekker horizontal. I'll just flip this over, cut new keyways in the back side of these shafts. And I could order new bushings, but I think I'm going to get a piece of probably nylon and try turning a couple up, a little snugger fit. I thought about putting bronze in here, but then I thought maybe not. You see how much slop is in that bushing there. So the keyways in the mating details, those appear to be in good condition. I don't know if it's a harder steel or what. So since I've got to machine some parts, I'll bring you along for that. Another issue is this linkage on the other side, which hooks the front and the back lifting mechanisms of the mower deck together. I don't know if you can see that there's some wear in this too. So maybe I'll take that and at least weld it up and grind it back down and fill it in a little bit. The goal is just to take a lot of the wear and play out of the mechanism. Get things back to where they belong. So I guess it does have over 1,100 hours on this mower, so using it a couple hours a week on my lawn, it'll probably be a long time before it's needs to be worked on again. So I gotta get some key stock on order, get the Kearney Trekker horizontal set up. I do have a 1/4 inch wide milling cutter for that to cut the keyway, so that should make pretty quick work of it. I'll make the bushings here for this shaft. Here's the first one I've made. Turn it out of a piece of nylon here. They're going to end up being about 1.5 inches long. Inner diameter will be just 5/1000ths over an inch, just to give some clearance, and the outer diameter is going to be about 1 inch 5/50. Now I don't have the ideal tools for doing this. I'm not fully tooled up on this lathe yet, so I've got some less than ideal tools here, boring bars, cut off tools, but it'll do for now until I can get some better tooling. So I've already gone and put a pilot drill down here. I'll drill this open out. I think this is a 15/16 drill. We'll open this up to a larger size, and then I'll finalize the size with this this little boring bar setup I got here. Pretty decent fit. So now I'll cut the outside diameter of this. It's going to be pretty thin walled, so since it's such a thin wall, I'm going to want to try to cut this diameter in one pass, just so the stock behind it gives support to the part here, and I don't end up tearing it up. So my tool should still be set fairly close from the previous bushing. So I'm going to start this, stop it, make sure I'm on size, and then take it one pass. We'll go just over just go just over 1.5 inches long here. Double check that diameter. It's right where we want it. So let's cut it. There it is. So we got about 1 inch 155. That's where I want it. Exactly where it's at. Now this isn't the greatest parting tool, and this is a fairly thin walled part. So instead of parting it under power, I'm gonna go ahead and part it by hand here. I'll show you what I mean. So that's set. I'm gonna set my stop here for 1.5 inches. So I set my stop for 1.5 inches after off of this where the carriage is at here, so all I need to do is wind this down, touch the stop. Like I said, I'm just going to spin this by hand and part it off, just to avoid any grabbing. You should hear that plastic just kind of getting crunchy right before it breaks through. There, start hearing that? There it is. So I'll do a little deburring on that, but there's the second bushing. Next, I need to address this this shaft that links the two sides of the mower deck together. So I've already gone ahead and cut a new keyway. This is a new keyway on this side. There was a hole through this shaft, so I put a snug fitting drill bit in there, and I used my surface gauge here to get it within a couple of thou of being parallel to the top of the table. So that way when I flipped it around here and I indicate it again, that ensures me that these two keyways on each end of the shaft will be fairly lined up. So you can see the simplicity of a task like this done in this horizontal mill. This is where this horizontal mill really shines. See, I don't have to put a vise on here or indicate anything in. I merely put the shaft, after I cleaned it, down into the top of one of the key slots and clamp it down. Of course, we know that the table runs straight. This is a universal table. I indicated along one of these keyways, and I know my table is within 1 thou end to end, being parallel to the travel. Okay, so another trick that I've learned is I bring this mill cutter down to touch. I touch off just enough so this little witness mark here is the same width as the cutter. Then I can move the table in and out until these teeth are centered on that, match up with the witness mark there. Should get it within a few thousandths, which is good enough for a keyway. But it also sets my starting point, since I want to take my keyway depth from the point at which the cutter makes full contact. So now that we've got that, we take a note of my height position here. Drop the table down so I can bring the workpiece out from underneath the cutter. Go back up to my height here, so this should be the height that I was set at on the witness mark. Just crank this up there. Yeah, that looks correct. So since I'm doing a 250 thousandths or a quarter-inch keyway, I want half of it to be in the shaft. I'm going to go up 125 thousandths. I'm going to take the whole cut all at once. Good, my numbers are coming out within a couple of thousand when I cut the keyway on the other side, so that kind of shows that I'm pretty well lined up. So I don't have any coolant on this machine, so I'm going to rely on some cutting oil on here. Try not to get my hands in front of the camera here while it's cutting. I'll dribble some on the cutter while it's going. Speeds and feeds, I got my spindle running at 33 RPM and I'm just under an inch a minute. So we should just, this keyway, I'm going to cut it just over 3 1/4 inches long. I want 3 1/4 on the flat bottom plus the radius of the cutter. So it'll take about 3 minutes to make this cut. This is a That should do it. Take a quick measurement, make sure I'm at depth. I'm sure I am. Pull this out, clean it up, and reburr it. Start reassembling. Getting some rain today. Might be kind of loud in this side of the shop, side of the barn. There's no insulation over here. It's pretty loud on that metal roof. But here's the shaft installed. You can see the new keyway on top, old keyway on bottom. Bushing inside the bore there. That's a little bit of a snug fit. Seeing that I tightened up the clearances on that bushing for both the shaft and the bore a little tighter than stock, but it should be okay, especially with the weight of the deck on this, and I expect it'll wear in a little bit. So original one lasted 1,000 hours, so seeing that this isn't on a trailer running back and forth from job site to job site anymore, I expect this one to last even longer. I won't bore you with the reassembly of the lawnmower, and it wasn't the main point of this video anyways. I hope you enjoyed watching the process of repairing these parts, and I hope it encourages you to get out in your shop and try making something or fixing something yourself. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button and maybe even consider subscribing. See you next time.